cut that. And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Filipino Freethinkers podcast. That's also a video. That's also part of a webathon for the people affected by the Yolanda typhoon. Of course, we're asking people to donate to the Philippine Red Cross. So, I'm Red.
I'm Frank.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Talia.
I'm Georgie.
I'm Baban.
And today we're going to talk about meetups. So meetups are, of course, the weekly or fortnightly gatherings that we have so that people could go beyond their keyboards and monitors and laptops and actually meet people face to face so that they don't have to just troll each other or, post memes and links and actually talk and think in front of each other. So, because there's a merit to that. So let's get the discussion started. A lot of people, of course, have been hesitant to attend the meetups. And why do you think that is, guys?
Wait, let's first talk about where there are meetups. Like, we do have different
Okay.
chapters now, and different chapters have different meetups. So, there are the main meetups, of course. They happen at different places. The next one will be tomorrow, if you're watching this live. It will be tomorrow at, Holy Trinity Parish.
Yeah.
Holy
Church.
Trinity,
Holy Trinity Church.
Yeah.
Holy
McKinley.
Trinity Church at McKinley Street, Makati.
Yes.
So it's not a Catholic church. You're not gonna burn.
We have
It's
Episcopalian
an Episcopalian church.
You're just gonna get singed a bit.
Yeah, just a little bit
Just a-
itchy. So we also have meetups sometimes at the south. When Georgie
South.
will tell you when and where, let you know. And
Okay, why don't we let the heads themselves talk about their respective meetup venues? Where do you usually do your
We
meetups?
usually do our venues at either Union Jack or Jack's Loft at Festival Mall
Hmm.
In Alabang.
Okay.
in Alabang. And those of you who are based in the South and want to join us, please join the Filipino Freethinkers group Metro Manila South on Facebook.
I'm Talia. I'm from the University chapter in Taft. So we're handling everyone in the LSU and CSB. If you're watching and you're from St. Scholastica, Manila, UP Manila, anywhere along Taft, which is a long-ass road, please just message us, look up the Filipino Freethinkers Taft Facebook group. But we mostly meet up near LaSalle around University Mall and in Norritter.
Alright, so I'm Jamie. I'm originally from FF UP Diliman, but now we started to become FF Katipunan. So everyone along Katipunan, Ateneo, Maurice is not here. Maurice!
Yeah.
And if you're from Miriam, you can join, though we rarely get people from Miriam. And of course, UP Diliman, just go there. Though we haven't had a meetup in a while. We're as rare as a mushroom.
You're fired.
Hey! Okay, I'm gonna leave now.
You shouldn't just say negative things about your organization. You're fired. What is with that estimate? Anyway,
we also have meetups in Davao City. Just look for Filipino Freethinkers Davao chapter on Facebook. They have announcements for meetups there. They happen once in a while.
there is a...
There's an upcoming meetup.
Oh, and of course,
Oh yeah,
of course.
and then UPLB.
UP Los Baños are our most active chapter that puts all of the other chapters, even the main one, to shame with all of their activities and the numbers that they get in their meetups is just amazing. Check out their Facebook group as well. And shout out to the people who couldn't be here because they're really so far away.
There are FF chapters in Subic
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
Iloilo City.
Oh,
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah.
Actually, there are 7,107 islands.
We
So
should
should
set
we
up a
have
chapter.
In the country.
7,107
So we should have just
chapters.
as many chapters.
Yeah, but,
one day,
uh,
one day.
Anyway.
Yeah, but the idea, of course,
Bacolod chapter.
Bacolod chapter.
Yes.
I'm sure there are some chapters that we aren't mentioning. I'm very sorry about that. If you're not getting mentioned, it's because your activity is not that high. You're
Or
fired.
you're not.
You're fired
Or
along
they're
with
not
me.
here. They're not here. Danny and El are in. Are in
Yeah, of course, we
Bacolod.
can only
Yeah.
fit so many people in this podcast. Let's get to the podcast. To the meetup itself, which is what this podcast is about. So, the meetup. So why? Again, the question. It's just we post the invites online. There's usually a list of topics, at least for the main group. That's how it is. Three up to 5 topics, and then we tell people it's free. People often ask, is there an entrance fee? There's never an entrance fee. If you get charged an entrance fee, then you're being duped. That's not a
You're in
free
the wrong place.
It's not
You're in
us.
the-
It's not an affiliated
No.
chapter.
It's not us.
Yeah, that's not us. We don't ask for any money. Anyway, we also say that you don't have to register for anything. You can just come as a newbie, and you will be welcome. Just look for the smart and sexy group of people, and then just sit in. You can just listen if you like. That's also a very common question. Can I just listen? Will I be forced to talk? No, you won't be forced to talk. We're fans of free speech, but we won't force you to exercise your right to free speech, of course. And that's it. But why do people not attend? Some people attend. Like at the end of the meetup, I'll talk to them, and they'll tell me that I've been wanting to attend for the longest time, but I just, I was shy. I was intimidated. But why would you be intimidated? We're not smart. Let's put it at that. We're not geniuses. We're not special. We're just like you guys. Again, free thinking does not have anything to do with being smart or intelligent. Ideally, of course, we want to be smart and intelligent, but it's all about exercising your reasoning capacity to the best of your abilities. So why do people not attend? What do you think? Chapter heads and Frank and Bavan?
Jesus.
Yeah, go ahead.
Partly it's because of misconceptions about what goes on in the meetups. Like, some people think that we're a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know people who, when we started out,
Yeah.
came just to make sure that we weren't a cult. Like they just sat on the group beside us, on the table beside us in the Starbucks. We were at Starbucks then, and they would just stay there and listen for a while, not introduce themselves, just to make sure we weren't some cult after their money. We are not after your money, except today donate to the Philippine Red Cross.
Not to us.
We're still not after your money.
Yeah,
We're-
yeah. It's not for us. We're not
Yeah.
asking. We don't donate to us. Do not donate to any of our accounts, to our PayPal. Donate directly to the charity or relief group of your choice.
Our preferred group for now is the Red Cross because they seem to be the most reliable for now. Of course, there are others that we also support. And
Yeah. So anyway, also I think another fear of people is that they will have to speak English. You don't have to. I mean, that's one thing people ask in our group. Like, do we have to speak English? No, you don't. Pwede kayo mag-Tagalog.
Bisaya,
Pwede mo mag-Binisaya, pero wag mo
Yo.
sagutin nyo. So-
Ilonggo man.
Yeah. So, what?
I don't know. Okay, go ahead.
We only drive the English thing if we have foreign guests. Like if we have people who don't speak Tagalog, we try to encourage everyone to speak in English, just so that everyone can understand.
It's just
So-
basic respect for
Yes.
the, you know.
Although,
Yes.
yeah, we will. People speaking any language they want. Like last time, we had a few foreigners and people spoke in Tagalog, and it was fine. Some people
Yeah.
beside the foreigners would help translate.
Yes.
And that's perfectly fine. Just speak however you're comfortable, or not at all.
People have this misconception that you have to be an atheist to join anything that has to do with the Filipino Freethinkers. We would have people who attend the meetups and they would introduce themselves as Catholic or Christian or Muslim or whatever in a kind of apologetic way. You know, as if it's a requirement that you become an atheist. Or when they say that they're agnostic, they say, agnostic pa lang ako eh. I'm an agnostic for now, but I promise I'll become an atheist. No, we do not really require that you become an atheist to participate. You just have to, have an open mind, be willing to discuss and discuss critically, and have your ideas subjected to as much criticism and critical thinking as our group promotes.
It's simply just about being willing to listen as much as you're willing to speak.
Yeah.
That's it.
And the topics that we have don't even necessarily have to relate to religion. Like I remember,
Don't.
I remember the misconception, a related misconception, when someone, like maybe a militant atheist, would attend our group, like a self-identified militant atheist, would attend our group and say, like, when are we going to discuss the Catholic Church? Or when are we going to do the Catholic Church bashing? As if that were like a constant,
Practice.
a constant segment of our meetups. It's not. If it's relevant, if it's interesting to discuss, if there's controversy there, those are the things that we discuss. If it's something that everyone will agree with, then what's to discuss?
Yeah.
We always try to look for the controversy and challenge ourselves, even ourselves. If we agree on one point, let's stretch the idea far enough that not all of us agree. If we all agree that contraception is a good thing, let's check on abortion. Maybe we disagree on that, and we do disagree on that, and those are the kinds of things that we like discussing.
One of the other things maybe is because like ako, I have a family, and most of us who have been like agnostics or free thinkers since we were young really don't get into the rituals. That process of having a ritual that people who come from religious backgrounds do. So by the time that you're at a certain age, you're not set into having a ritual. So going to a meetup or having a group is not something you're used to, and you have to get into that sort of flow again. Kasi that's what I noticed when I met the Filipino Freethinkers. I really had to make up my mind, I have to attend this, I have to attend this, because you're just not used to.
Yeah, I actually remember experiencing this. I was talking to someone who was an atheist, right? And I told them about the meetups that we have on a regular basis. Of course, atheists are welcome, as welcome as anyone else. And that person said, why would I attend? I actually left religion so that I wouldn't have to go to church. And here you are inviting me to yet another church. And I'm just not going to participate in anything as organized as that.
Okay.
So, if you're...
I'd like to give my response.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
ako, from my background already, like I have a kid who's a second generation agnostic atheist. He was never baptized. So I was, at the time that I joined the Filipino Freethinkers, I was very keen na he would have a community, because then I was concerned na he would grow up, that he won't have a community, he won't have people to talk to about the subjects that interest him, because it would seem odd, and he would feel exactly like I felt, na parang alienated. So I felt like, that's when I felt compelled na, kahit na hindi ako sanay sa ritual, let me just do this, let me do it regularly, at least for the future Filipino free thinkers, agnostics, and those who want to really test out how much their reasoning capability would go. There should be people there waiting for them and supporting them when they're trying to process their thoughts. Yun.
Yeah, so let's talk about the benefits of actually attending a meetup. Let's sell people on the idea. For me, the main thing, if there's anything that the meetups do, it's simply to let people know that a group such as ours does meet and get along, and they're not being discriminated against, and we just exist,
Yeah, and we're not smoking pot all the time and all that.
Some of us,
We're not.
I'm sure some members do outside of the meetups, or maybe during the meetups
But
we
just
wouldn't
like
know.
everybody else.
Just like
Everybody else belonging to every other religion.
But
We
the
are
point
as
is-
varied as any other
The
group.
groups,
Our members
exactly.
are not homogeneous. We are different
Yeah.
people,
Very,
so we
very
have different
different.
behaviors.
But do you remember those times like RG would attend the meetup, and it's such a good thing to meet a fellow free thinker like in front of me. Like a lot of people have never met an atheist or an agnostic or a free thinker or humanist in person.
or don't
Before the
even know
Filipino
that there are
Freethinkers.
others in the Philippines.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then they come into a room,
Full
with
of those.
80,
Yeah.
40 to 80 people.
And you're overwhelmed.
And they don't,
Wow.
and wow, this is actually happening. And like another time, somebody told me that like she almost committed suicide because she felt so alone.
Alone.
She thought that no one else thought like she did.
She was
And
that she was weird.
that she was weird.
Yes.
And no, there are these people, who talk about things that you would want to talk about, even if you do not attend in your whole entire life. Just the knowledge that there are these people who you could, it's an option for you. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Kasi one of the things nga, the new members usually say when they find out about the Filipino thinkers, sabi, I thought I was all alone.
Yeah.
And then they're quite happy because they're able to just, express whatever else that's in their minds and process it. Kasi before, they had to control what they thought, they have to restrain from expressing what they felt. Kasi they were surrounded by people who just thought so differently.
Yeah, and besides the feeling of community that you get from attending a meetup, there's also the chance to talk about things that you don't normally talk about with your family, with your friends, people who might be less critical of the organizations they're in and the groups they're in, or religions, for example. So one of the things I really like about our meetups is we're able to have conversations that push the limit about what we can think about. That it's okay to think about this issue that way instead of the norm, which is mostly in our country very religion-based. So you're allowed to be critical of things, of authority, for example, and talk about things that really matter and not everyday discussions.
And there's another thing na pansin ko which is really beneficial is that when people have problem, kasi people who are free thinkers think differently. They try to evaluate problems differently and they come up with different solutions.
Yes.
Now, which is really different from the way traditionalists would. So, when they come to an organization like ours, they don't feel so. When the way they evaluate problems and the way they come up with solutions is not so strange. And at the very least, parang you're able to also handle your life in a way na hindi na masyadong walang incongruence or dissonance from the rest of your environment. And I think that's important. Mental health.
Another thing that we get in university chapters, because university chapters, we don't discuss things as heavy as the main chapter. We do things like sci-fi, and we talk about things like that. The thing is, especially in maybe our culture in LaSalle, with so few people caring about these weird hipster indie feeling important things, because every no, no, I mean
Fire in
honestly,
the hole.
wait, honestly, in our culture, when everything is circled on the newest, hippest concert, it's really difficult to find other people your age who read books. And so a lot of the people we get, for my chapter at least, is like a bunch of people who just want to discuss sci-fi for 5 hours and will not stop.
Yeah.
Please stop.
Go beyond the class.
It's like subtitles, please stop.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah,
What-
and also, since we started with UP Diliman, and we used to discuss things related to, well, university issues, because in UP Diliman, there's like all this hullabaloo about political parties, and we feel like we're outcast, because, we think like one, but we side with the other party, so it's weird, but in that chapter, we could discuss basically anything that we think about it, and not be judged. Yeah.
So,
But then again, after that, we talk about sci-fi too. Right.
actually, in the main meetup, we talk about sci-fi and its ethical implications as well, in a more fun and intelligent way. So we all talk about sci-fi. That's something that we have in common. But the point
Should we have a
is,
sci-fi
again,
meetup
I
now?
keep coming back to this, is that it's more about the kind of thinking, the way that you think, rather than the topics that you talk about. So you could get together and talk about whatever topic, whatever thing that your group is interested in, and tackle that in a free thinker-y way. But for now, for this episode of the podcast, thank you very much and see you next time.
Yay.